Meet Bob, the bobcat, and Sweet Pea, the mama cat. Their story began when a kind-hearted woman arrived at the Animal Rescue Foundation with a tiny box in hand. Inside was no ordinary kitten. It was a wild baby bobcat. Today's story is about one of those remarkable moments, a rescue stray cat adopting a baby bobcat and treating it as her own. If you want to know what would happen next, be sure to keep watching. In the wild, adoption isn't unheard of, as birds, mammals, and even reptiles sometimes take on the role of adoptive parents for animals of different species. But in the human world, such acts of kindness often come from the most unexpected sources. It all began when the woman had discovered the newborn near her home. She waited for hours, hoping the mother bobcat would return. But as the day turned into night, it became clear that the tiny creature was alone and vulnerable. Without intervention, the baby bobcat's chances of survival were slim. Acting on instinct and compassion, the woman carefully placed the bobcat in a box and brought him to the shelter. The baby bobcat, who would later be named Bob, was only a few days old. At this fragile stage of life, having a nursing mother was crucial for his survival. Coincidentally, that same day, the shelter had taken in a stray mama cat, Sweet Pea, along with her 5 kittens. The shelter workers knew it was a long shot, but they decided to introduce the tiny wild feline to Sweet Pea in the hope she would accept him as one of her own. The moment they introduced Bob to Sweet Pea, something magical happened. Sweet Pea didn't hesitate. She began to nurse the tiny bobcat alongside her own kittens, showing the same care and affection for him as she did for her biological litter. Shelter workers were overjoyed. It was clear Bob now had a chance at survival. At first, Bob needed a little extra help adjusting. Being a wild animal, his instincts were different from those of Sweet Pea's kittens. But Sweet Pea was patient and attentive, nursing him diligently and grooming him as if he were her own. Bob took a bit longer to wean compared to his siblings, but he thrived under Sweet Pea's care. As days turned into weeks, Bob grew stronger. His fur thickened, his eyes brightened, and his playful energy blossomed. Watching Sweet Pea and Bob together became a source of inspiration for everyone at the shelter. The two shared a bond that seemed unbreakable. Sweet Pea was fiercely protective of her adopted baby, often curling around him to keep him warm and safe. Despite the joy their relationship brought, the shelter staff knew that Bob's future was tied to the wild. As he grew, his instincts would naturally lead him to behaviors unsuitable for a domestic environment. The goal was to rehabilitate him and eventually release him back into his natural habitat. Separating Sweet Pea and Bob wasn't going to be easy. Not for the shelter workers, not for Sweet Pea, and certainly not for Bob. But the staff was committed to giving Bob the best chance at a full life in the wild. They began introducing him to environments that mimicked his natural habitat, teaching him to hunt and navigate as a bobcat would. Sweet Pea's role in Bob's life was undeniable. Her love and care gave him the foundation he needed to grow into a healthy young bobcat. Though their time together was temporary, it was profound. The bond between Sweet Pea and Bob highlighted the beauty of compassion that transcends species. When the time came to prepare Bob for his eventual release, shelter workers documented every step of the process. They wanted to share the story of this incredible pair with the world, showing the importance of kindness and the potential for harmony between domestic and wild animals. Sweet Pea's kittens found loving homes, and Sweet Pea herself was adopted by a family that admired her nurturing spirit. Bob, now strong and independent, was released into a protected area, where he could live as nature intended. Their story lives on as a reminder of how love and care can come from the most unexpected places. Sweet Pea and Bob's bond inspired everyone who witnessed it, proving that even in the face of challenges, compassion can bridge the gap between the wild and the domestic. Bob and Sweet Pea's tale is one of hope, resilience, and the power of unlikely connections. It's a story that reminds us all of the beauty in taking care of those who need it most, no matter how different they might seem. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's story, consider giving us a thumbs up, tell us what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until next time,